I built a pellet smoker out of an old 1950s refrigerator, and I only really saw a couple different videos on there on how to do it, and was kind of intrigued by wanting to do the project. I built a couple of smokers. As you can see, I have another smoker out here. I have another electric smoker out there. So I am a barbecue enthusiast. I wouldn't say I'm an expert. I'm not like Bradley Robinson from Chud's Barbecue or Jeremy Yoder from the Mad Scientist Barbecue. Those guys are professionals at doing videos. I'm not, so please be kind for my first one. I'm just trying to do this for a charity, actually. It's the Heroes Golf Tour. These guys raise funds for veterans with PTSD. They provide counseling for veterans with PTSD, and I 100% support what they're doing. So I took my own money, time, resources to help go ahead and build this thing. And I want to share with you how I did that. And this smoker is going to be raffled off. I'm giving it to them. It's going to be raffled off to raise money for that charity. And if you live in Southern California between San Diego and LA, you're eligible to enter the raffle. I'm probably going to be building another one of these. So for the next one, we're going to try to make it nationwide. But right now, logistically, we can't figure that out. So let's get into what I did. So there's 3 reasons you're going to want to use a pellet smoker if you live here in Southern California. I call it the 3 C's: cost, convenience, consistency. The cost aspect is probably an offset smoker would be the better choice if you want to make really good barbecue, which is what all the professional barbecuers use, except if you don't have the ability to get wood. If you can't get post oak, if you can't get hickory, if you can't get whatever kind of wood you want to use, like you can in Southern California, it's cost prohibitive. Convenience. You can go out and buy any kind of actual hardwood pellets now that they sell, not just flavored, but actual hardwood, whatever kind of hardwood you want, whatever kind of flavor you want, you can get that. So you actually get that kind of flavor in your barbecue. And the convenience of actually being able to just buy it, order it, go to Home Depot, get some Traeger pellets. Those are okay. There's a bunch of other brands that I prefer, but you can YouTube that and find a bunch of costs or a bunch of different people who've done videos on which ones come out the best. And that's personal preference, your personal preference. And then I'd say consistency. Every really good barbecue guy, watch all the videos, will tell you consistency. If you have massive temperature swings in what you're cooking, you're not going to come up with really good barbecue. It's going to come out too dry, maybe come out too not done enough, whatever it be. But those are some of the primary reasons why this is a great choice. Again, if you live here in Southern California, or for anybody who just wants to make it easy. If you don't want to stand by a fire for 8, 10, 12 hours while you're making a brisket, constantly throwing in wood, then pellet smoker. I ran this thing with probably maybe a gallon of pellets, put it in the hopper, I ran it for 4.5 hours at 300 degrees, and the temperature never moved, and I had to dump the rest of the pellets out. That's how efficient these things are. So you actually, over time, save yourself a lot of time and energy, and you can go on to whatever else you're making that day, or go on with your day and just set it and forget it and go. So for those reasons, I would say this is a great option for a lot of people in areas where wood isn't really prevalent, or isn't very easy to get, or is cost prohibitive. With that, we'll go into actually how I built this thing, what went into the engineering, and you'll see some of the kind of design things that I came up with that I saw from other guys who built these things, and they said the issues they had. Number 1 issue is grease. What do you do with the grease? Number 2 issue is airflow. How do you make sure you get the proper amount of airflow in there? Number 3, how do you make the heat consistent? Number 4, how do you make sure it's well insulated and food grade safe? And I think I've done all those things pretty well, but I'll show you what I did. Okay, let's talk about what I did to build this thing, and I'll do a quick little walk around to show you exactly what we got going on. Obviously, again, this is the Heroes Golf Tour symbol. This is the company, or I'm sorry, the charity that I'm donating this thing to. Great bunch of guys, and again, they raise funds to pay for veterans and first responders who have PTSD and need some counseling, and I think that's a very amazing and worthwhile charity. So this is the 1950s refrigerator. and I took it, built it, and one of the reasons you use an old refrigerator because the inside is metal, as you're going to see, and you can't have any plastic, so I had to pull out all the plastic and recreate those pieces out of metal, as you'll see shortly. First thing I did is down here, you can see this is where the front door used to be for all of the guts of the operation for the compressors and things like that for the actual refrigerator. I took that and made a drawer out of it because you always need stuff. You always need a place to put your barbecue junk, and trust me, once you get into it, or if you're already into it, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. And that is a, as you can see, that is a ball bearing heavy duty rails that I put that thing on because the first time I tried to do it, it was pretty flimsy and I didn't like it. Second thing, down here you can see these are heavy duty casters, plenty big enough to hold all, or plenty strong enough to hold all the weight, and lockable. They're also, as you can see right here, this one compared to that one, these are adjustable, and there's a set screw on the bottom where you can adjust, spin the casters out. So if your floor or the place you're going to put this thing isn't completely level, you can spin those out, lock them down so that your smoker is completely level. As we come around, you can see 2 locking hinges to hold the door shut. Make sure you got a good seal around the door. Make sure you're not losing heat and smoke. And as we open up the inside, you can see this is about 10 gauge aluminum. I wanted something that would reflect heat but not warp and not change. If it's metal to metal, that would actually change some stuff. So I put that on there. Behind here, behind this door is, I used ceramic insulation that's good for up to 2,500 degrees. Regular refrigerator insulation, if you do not replace it, will burn up eventually. If there's any kind of fire inside, it's going to burn up. So I use that. This is your fire seal. Same thing you put on a wood burning stove or something like that. It's a door seal. It's called a tadpole design. Everything orange you see right here is food grade safe RTV. It's what you put in, you know, what restaurant kitchens have, and you can see it. It's all around here to seal up all these things. Again, this seal, so when I shut the door, this is the heat chamber down here, keeps, and you'll see more later, but that's the heat chamber, so that's separated, so to make sure all the heat gets pushed up here through the middle. This portion here, as you can see, this is angled in, so when I put the bottom tray in and I put my water pan underneath there, this now becomes a grease trap. Everything drips into here, everything drips into this grease trap along here, back here. All the grease drips down into your drip pan, and you'll see that a little bit later. And I built, obviously, 3 shelves plus your drip pan shelf. So you have all this as your cooking chamber. Everything on the bottom is for your water pan / grease trap. Everything down here is for your, obviously I call it the blast furnace, but that's where the pellets dump into, and that's where the heat gets blown into, and that's what creates the fire. This piece of apparatus, as you see, that is actually where the air gets pumped into the smoker to give you your airflow, and it pumps right here underneath the blast furnace to circulate the air properly. So to make sure you have proper circulation and ventilation, and obviously comes out of the smokestack. Here is your thermal probe. So whatever temperature you set, and I try to put it as close to the middle as possible, so whatever temperature you set, that's the thermal probe that it's picking up from the pellet hopper to add fuel, add air, whatever. And obviously, as you can see down here is where your air ports come from. Coming around, again, Dennis at Smoke Daddy Inc. Appreciate you, man. You're the best. This piece of metal here was donated, or I'm sorry, a piece of aluminum was donated by Mickey at Women's Performance Parts. Good friend of mine, great guy, wanted to help out. This is the pellet hopper from Pellet Pro. As you come around and you can see it. One of the things I love mostly about their system, the way they did it, everything's digital, goes in 5-degree increments, has smoke settings on there. This, one of the most important features, if you look in here, when you open that up, when you're done cooking, you open up that little slot here. So I can get a good shot of that right there. And the pellets all dump out, so you don't want to leave pellets in here. If those pellets get wet, they disintegrate and then they harden up again, and you have a wood block sitting in the bottom of your pellet hopper. It just takes a couple seconds. Just put a bucket under this, pull it open, put a bucket under here, all your pellets dump out right there. You have a handful of pellets at the bottom left, and you just run those out or take a shot back and suck them out. I just usually run them out, and works amazing. This piece here, vent, ball joint, your fan. So this is a variable speed fan. It pumps air into here, and the tube you saw inside, it comes out there, pumps air into here. Pretty ingenious, I think, idea that I actually saw somebody do. It said use a ball joint, and I thought, or a ball valve, and I thought that was incredibly smart. So if you don't want to use the blower, or if you want to have it just completely dry, or you just want to use vented air, you can shut it off anytime you want. Shut it off, turn it on. I would always leave it open, but I wanted to give you the option to have that. On this side, I wired up just a standard outlet. Just put an outlet plug in there. This controls your variable speed fan. Crack it on as fast as you want it to blow. And what I found, which was interesting, is when I cracked this on just a little bit, this half of the smoker was about 50 degrees hotter than this half of the smoker. And at first it kind of annoyed me, and I was like, I didn't understand why, and I don't know what the thermodynamics was going on. And then when I turned it up to about 50%, the entire smoker was even. I used all my temperature probes while I was running it to test it. Everything ran perfectly. The actual good part about this is, if you're making a brisket, you might want the point side of the brisket hotter than the flat side of the brisket. So if you just crack it on, you put the point side on the hotter side, just like a regular offset smoker, works amazing. Again, these are the guys who helped out to build this thing. I want to give another great shout out to Reggie at Hot Wheels. He did all the painting for me. I'm going to try to add some pictures later to show you what this thing looked like when we first got it. Obviously the original stickers, and after we painted it, you know, thank you, Reggie, amazing job. Joey at Endless Auto Salon, he did all the graphics for us, this graphic and this graphic. Big shout out to him. Really appreciate you, brother. Okay, so I'm gonna pause here for a second. And there's my smoker running right now, actually making bacon. Like I said, I'm a barbecue enthusiast, not a professional, but I understand what should go into making one of these things so that you get the best product possible, or I think I understand it, and I'm doing my best to give you the best product I can. One other piece, this again, heavy duty reinforced aluminum, so that any heat doesn't get transferred through the bottom, it gets reflected back up through the smoker itself. So we're gonna pause real quick and I'll show you what this thing looks like assembled. So here's one of the first things that makes this work so well. This is known as a heat diffuser. Put it in place, and now you never want to have direct heat on anything. You want all indirect heat for everything you're cooking, so that you don't get any hot spots, burn spots, things like that. So one of the things I loved about this piece when I saw it and when I built it was this. Again, my blast furnace actually blows and hits right here. All the heat gets deflected to the front and to the back. This simple piece, if you want to add extra wood chips in there or extra pellets in there, those things will smolder, burn right there, give you the extra wood flavor. And another piece that I'm going to add to this is this. Put it down right there on the hottest spot of the smoker. Put your wood chips in there. Those will also smolder through these little holes, through these little vents right there. So if you want extra smoke, again, that's how you can make a pellet smoker get real smoke, like a real offset smoker. It's just smoke and ventilation. You never want to have stagnant air, stagnant smoke sitting around the food you're cooking, because then you get that creosote kind of flavor to everything you're cooking. You want to make that air circulate, which is again what the airflow tube coming in does for you. All right, let me show you another piece here real quick. Some of my other pieces. As you can see, this is just a simple tin pan. That's what catches all the water, that's what catches all the grease. This goes on top. Right above. So you can see there's your water pan and your grease trap. When you look from the top down, here's where all your grease is going to hit, here, here, anywhere, and is going to fall into this pan, which is you're going to collect all that stuff so you don't get grease forming on the bottom, possibly catching fire. That happens to a lot of guys with pellet smokers. They let the grease build up, that grease catches fire, and possibly going to have the fire department visiting your house. And the last thing is just my last tray, so you can see it fully assembled. And that's what it looks like. So you have 3 cooking racks. You have your bottom tray for your water pan. You have your drip, your grease drip edges to catch all your grease. You got your bottom drawer here. Two latching door latches. Your seal here around the entire thing, so it doesn't leak any air, doesn't smoke at all outside. It only comes out of the chimney stack. And your drawer in the bottom for all your barbecue goodies. And when you shut the door, you can see here, that door seals keeps the bottom and the top as 2 separate pieces. Forces the air, which is caught right here by this edge and by your grease dripping, so it forces all the air right up through the middle. Simple latch and simple latch. And last but not least, obviously, got a smokestack and a damper. Pretty simple, pretty standard. And that's pretty much it, guys. And one last thing I noted, this down here, I extended the wheels out a little bit because of the weight of the pellet hopper being back here, so I extended the wheels out a little bit to make it so it's not top heavy, so it doesn't fall over. I found that when I first started building it, it felt like it was a little tippy, so, and that's super heavy duty steel. That's probably 1/4 inch steel I built those out of, so it's not going anywhere. Everything in the bottom of the smoker was reinforced square tube, so the bottom where the drawer is and the bottom frame is super sturdy, super secure. And again, door handle, name, that's all original parts. This is where the radiator used to be for the refrigerator. These are the actual manufacturer stickers that we just left on it for aesthetics. This whole piece back here is removable, so if your temperature probe, which is where your temperature probe comes out right here, if your temperature probe ever goes bad, you just remove this, pull the probe out of the back, unscrew it, put a new probe in. Simple, easy. Okay guys, I hope that answers a lot of questions, and I hope you can see the time and effort it took to build this thing. And legitimately, I think I'm going to put my own name in that hat just to try to win it myself. No, I'm not going to do that. This is for charity, and I hope this goes to a good home. All right, guys, have a great day, and happy Veterans Day again, belated.